Welcome back, everybody. This episode, we sit down and talk about leadership and the promotional process in the American Fire Service. Stick around to the end to find out what Mike believes a perfect promotional process is. And don't forget to like, subscribe, listen, and leave a review for the podcast. It really helps push us to the top and make sure that we are getting the content that you guys like. Don't forget that these episodes are brought to you by Old Man Copper, Mustache Wax, Smoke Eater. Smells like a freaking house fire. Keeps you thinking about jobs all day long. Don't forget discount code COPPER, COPPER, for 20% off your order. Great dude, retired fireman out of Florida. You can't go wrong. On top of that, check out Engine House Designs, discount code BURN THE SHIPS, 10% off all your apparel that you might need. And then the Williams Key, helping us get in and out of doors quickly. Discount code COPPER, COPPER, saves you money on your order. Thank you, guys. Enjoy. All right. Welcome back, everybody. I have the privilege to sit down with Mike Elhihi. He's a company officer and the founder of Front Seat Academy, an online leadership and promotional preparation program. He spent the last 14 years of his career with his organization, has a deep passion for the craft. He's been an engine operator, tiller operator, truck driver, fireboat pilot. Didn't know they were called pilots. In addition to the operational roles, he's been actively involved in his union leadership for nearly 10 years. He currently serves as the associate president. He's also got published work in Fire Department Training Network and the Firehouse Tribune, with additional articles accepted and pending right now. So maybe by this time drops, you'll have something else. Okay. And then I'll let you go into the rest of what you want to share with the audience. Without further ado, this is try number 2. You were supposed to air like 8 months ago, and long story. We might touch on that, but
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother, for blocking out another piece of your time here, and we
Thank
can
you.
finally sit down and do this. So
Thank you.
again, thank you. Is there anything else you want to add to your bio that I didn't put in there or I butchered?
Nah, it was perfect. It was great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
All right, Mike. Well, listen. So we got connected a while ago now over the magic of Instagram and the interweb and everything else, and I really liked what you were doing for promotional processes. But mostly, it was just like everything was coming out for company officer level, and they were tactical things. Like I think one of the first things I saw on it so long ago, it was basically like a screenshot or a small video, and it was like you talking over like, what would your initial size up be? Something on those lines. So it caught my attention. And then I started watching more of your stuff. And then obviously I reached out to you and we started talking. So with all that said, let's get in. That's really why I want to talk about. So before we get into what you're doing right now for the American Fire Service, why did the leadership take the forefront? So like I love ladder trading. I don't know why the bug bit me, but it's just my thing. Did something happen, or did you feel or see the lack of something in the American Fire Service that kind of put you over the edge on trying to master this to make us all better suppression officers and better leaders? If you don't mind, excuse me, marching that out for the audience.
Yeah. So for me, I guess it started, I never thought I was going to promote as early as I did. I saw myself, being a back. I really enjoyed my spot. I was on the truck. I was a driver. I had a lot of good seniority. I had a chance to see the fireground through multiple operational lenses, and I thought for sure I wasn't going to promote quite yet. But, just like us firemen, when you see an issue, you feel like you're compelled to fix it. And I guess that's my mantra. And I really started Front Seat Academy and this whole leadership process because of access and opportunity. I personally believe that we are spending so much money on leadership right now because everyone's talking about this leadership gap. We have a lot of new young officers stepping into company officer roles very young. And then after they step in, we're Monday morning quarterbacking them and talking about how they're not the same and the leadership styles are not the same, and they're not operating as if we used to operate. And so I said, well, I can't complain about that without giving an attempt to fix it before they get in the seat. And so I thought, okay, what's a unique way to do this? And I have a real passion for company officer training. I really love this position. And I said, is there a way for me to pay it forward? And that was really the genesis of Front Seat Academy. Because right now, if you want to take a promotional exam, your information is limited based on the amount of cost you want to spend. You want one-on-one tutoring, you want to take this class, you want to take this class. We have almost made information a form of currency. Now, I get it. Outside the fire service where life doesn't depend on it, that can definitely be a form of currency. But it's never been a form of currency in the fire service. We've always given, and we've given very selflessly. But now I feel like we've kind of switched it a little bit. And so my whole plan is to reset the timetable and give access, give opportunity, and not hoard information. And that was really the start of it.
All right. So now we know why you started it, but so now what is it exactly? Is it a database? Is it say, hey, Steve Orsini here. I have aspirations to promote to battalion chief. I
Right.
fucking don't, by the way, but this is what I'm saying right
Right.
now. What do I do? Do I reach out to you? What do you have? I mean, or is it
Right.
just, am I following you on Instagram? What's the program that you're developing
So
right
let
now?
me tell you about the program and then how you can access it. So I love reading, and one of my favorite authors is Simon Sinek. And Simon Sinek, he writes a book called The Infinite Game, and it's not his theory. It comes from a guy, I think it's James Course, but he says in life there's two types of games. There's finite games and there's infinite games. A finite game is known players, known rules, start time, finish time. There has to be a winner, there has to be a loser.
So football.
Football, baseball, soccer, anything that's finite, that's that type of game. The other type of game is infinite. Um, Known and unknown players. The goal of an infinite player is to keep the game going as long as you can. Rules can come and go. There really are no rules. There really is no winner. There is no loser, right? So people correlate war or things that you have no control over, like going to a structure fire, time of day, what's on fire, who's going to be inside. Those are infinite games that we have to be compelled to play. I hate how we do company officer exams because it doesn't value the person who's been a student of the craft their entire career. You could be absent for 20 years, learn how to do a role play, learn how to do a tactical sim, be really good in writing, score number one, and take that seat. And now you're working on a truck that you have no business being on, right? I don't like that. I think the American Fire Service needs to change that process. But until then, I want to do what I can to help those firefighters who've been students of the craft, who have the respect of their peers, who are ready to sit in that seat, get there. And the way I've decided how to get there is to teach them that the promotional process is a finite game. That's all it is. There's a start, there's a finish. You have ranked winners and losers. You don't get surprises, right? Everything is pretty spelled out, reading list. So if I can't change the game, I'm going to teach the firefighters who are ready to promote how to play that game. And that's how I built my course. So my course is not just a role play. It's not just an interview. I give you everything. I first give you a leadership section because I believe you have to really understand. And I'm not talking about some BS leadership. I'm talking about job applicable leadership that we can use every day, because then you can move into your why. And then you answer interview questions like that. And I'll teach you how to read your interview panel, because citizen A, who lives on 123 Main Street, doesn't care if you're going to pull a 2.5 on a center hall or inch 3/4, right? All they care about is, can I trust you when you walk into my house? So how do you answer an interview question in 5 minutes that appeases the deputy chief, makes the training chief say F yeah, and then makes a citizen say, I love you, right? That is what I teach. Then after that, I get into how to master a role play. I teach you about finding things like an inflection point or an undercurrent of a situation. We get into managing an emergency incident, talk about essay writing. I give you it all. And I give you it in terms of ways that you can understand to realize that this is just a game. And I'm going to teach you how to play that game.
So I'm just curious, is there like you provide all this information, which fucking sounds amazing. Is there like a success rate? Like, have you noticed since you started doing this that like the guys that you've impacted are more successful? And is it like night and day or I mean, what's been the feedback, I guess, is what I'm asking.
So I spent about a year putting together all my binders and notebooks, and I was ready to launch the program in May. I delayed a little bit. I launched October 1, and since then I've had over 100 people sign up in just the last couple months. And so if you can imagine, you're typically buying this program 6-7 months out to prepare for your test. So I've
Mhm.
only had a good handful of people buy the course who've taken the test within 2 or 3 months. I can tell you, I've heard feedback from about 11 people who have physically taken the test. 2 of them have gotten promoted. I'm sorry, I found out today 3 of them got promoted. The other 2 scored number 2 and number 4. I found out today somebody is number 1 waiting on an interview, and I haven't heard back from the rest. So it's been really positive feedback. And everything that I keep hearing is somebody's taking the time to explain the process. They're taking the time because, listen, I spent thousands of dollars when I wanted to promote. I took this class in California, that class in Florida. I did one-on-one training. I did National Fire Academy. I spent thousands and thousands and thousands, but it was so transactional. You buy this course, you take the content, take it or leave it. If you want more, go to my workshop for $500 more, and maybe we'll get a chance to talk. I don't believe in that. When people sign up, they get a phone call from me if they reach out. We're building personalized packets for your department. So you send me all your SOPs, SOGs. I mean, I have people sending me attachments of 80, 90 documents, and we build you practice exams for your department. People are sending me voice memos like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? We don't do any one-on-one tutoring. That's not our program. But man, it is so nice to have somebody on their line to pick up, or a text message be like, I need some help with this. Can you guide me on here? Can you guide me on there? And I think that's what's making this program so successful. Again, we don't do one-on-one tutoring. It's just an online platform where people can check out our social media, have a comment here, a discussion here. But it's just that ability to talk to somebody and be like, hey, I just need a little bit of help. Can you guide me? I think it's priceless.
And it's awesome. So, with all that said, check these guys. Well, these guys, listen to me,
Yeah.
right? These guys. I just went back to East Coast real quick. So, check them out, right? And you'll be amazed with the wealth of knowledge. And I agree with what we even talked about in the very beginning. Actually, is what you said was the influence that you have in that right front seat. And I wholeheartedly believe that. It's the most influential position in American Fire Service is that right front seat. Again, my personal opinion, but I do believe it because you directly affect and work with the crew. So helping these guys out, right? So you kind of notice the lack in the American Fire Service or the difficulties. So this is why we started. You're pretty much ingrained in this now. What do you think? Again, your personal opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think are future leaders? These guys that you're helping right now, what do you think their biggest challenge is going to be in the modern day American Fire Service with these new guys coming up? So basically, hey, Mike, you and I we're slowly checking out. The boys are going to come up and fill their shoes. What do you think that they're going to struggle with the most when it comes down to the leadership side? That could be internal, external.
Right.
I mean, wherever you want to go with it.
Yeah, I was just talking to this. So funny you asked this question. I was literally just talking to the guys from Firehouse Tribune the other day about this because we were talking about leadership styles. He's building a program on the East Coast for a conference about company officer stuff, and we were having a discussion about leadership. I think the biggest issue that we're facing is the leadership gap between the senior firefighters and the newly promoted officers coming in who are younger than them. Traditionally, if you look at the American Fire Service, you became a senior firefighter, a few stayed senior, but it was really rare to have a young LT or a young captain with a really senior crew. It was not the norm. And we have flipped that cycle to almost make that norm. We have more senior firefighters staying senior firefighters because they feel like there's a need to, and then we have new company officers who are young feeling like, well, no one else is going to promote, so I need to. So it's almost the head chasing the tail, and we've kind of gotten this weird cycle. And leadership has completely gone absent on that, like understanding leadership. So here's a great example of that. One of the questions everybody always gets asked on an interview panel, or when you're studying, is what's your leadership style? And
Mhm.
9 out of 10 times, everybody says servant leadership or situational leadership. And here's why. With technology today, they get on ChatGPT, they get on the internet, and they say, what's a good leadership style for a company officer? and you get boom, 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 boom. So they go into that front seat and into that interview saying, I'm a situational leader. I'm a servant leader. We are telling these firefighters who are now becoming captains what kind of leadership you need to have without them going through the cycle of experiencing it themselves and making that decision on their own. That is what's happening. We're teaching them after they get promoted rather than give them the opportunity beforehand to experience it. So, to answer that question, I don't believe a good company officer has a leadership style. I don't. I know all about leadership styles. I've read books, I've seen videos, servant, autocratic, delegative, participative, situational, whatever you want. Because until you're in that front seat and you have a brand new driver who has no idea where they're going, you have to be autocratic. You can't just say, hey, we got a working fire, go. Versus you have a brand new probie on the line and you have to walk them through forcing that door to get a line to the front door versus a 15, 20-year guy on a truck and you just say, hey, you guys go to the roof, give me a report on conditions. Totally complete leadership styles. Your crew will change it. The situation will change it. Are these dudes on a 72-hour shift and they're smoked? So when I say I'm a situational leader, well, what does that mean if you haven't experienced it yet? That's what I think these young officers are missing. And that's what I wish we can kind of inject into them now before it's too late and we run away with this thing.
So what would the answer be, your opinion, for the departments that do not have a good promotional process and they're starting to recognize things like, hey, we're not necessarily promoting the best, or I don't even want to say it that way because it's not meant to be negative. Basically, realizing the lack of experience in those positions, and then how young those positions become. What, again, in your opinion, what do you think a department could do afterwards to try to get these officers spun up? Like, what would you recommend to try to get guys spun up on their leadership role after they're already sitting in that seat?
Well, I mean, if you're after already sitting in that seat, it's tough. I do think you can change it before that seat. I think after you're in that seat, it's tough to motivate somebody unless it's because, you talk about motivation. If you're already a company officer and someone tells you, hey, you're not doing it right, do it better. If there's no carrot for me to learn, like if it's not internal, it's hard to get motivated, right? Think about everything you've achieved in your success with this program and what you developed, in Arizona. You yourself internally burn that flame which got you to where you are. It wasn't someone that approached you and said, hey, you've already have a podcast, but let me teach you how to do it differently. That'd be the same as a company officer. I think it's incredibly difficult to motivate someone who's already in that seat who doesn't believe there's an issue because we've hit that lucky button, right? The normalization of deviance. It's hard to do that. Now, I think it's possible, but it's going to be more fear based. It's got to be more forced. I think the real focus should be prior to them being promoted. It's okay to hold some boundaries. Hey, if you want to promote, maybe you just don't need 4 years. Maybe you need 8, 10 years. Maybe you need X amount of hours on the truck. Maybe you need X amount of hours here. Maybe you need X amount of conference hours, hot class hours, leadership hours. Maybe we have to start forcing this initiative until we reset the culture of it. Because I'm tired of hearing senior fire, and rightfully so, the complaints rightfully so. Man, these guys are just so young. They're promoting and they've never been on the nozzle. You're 100% right. So how do we bridge that gap? I think we have to start forcing a little bit of ownership, and hopefully you force it enough that you start to change the culture that is going to become the expectation, and people start making that move before they're told they have to.
Well, I got you. So, just curious, you are going to hop forward a little bit, and I'll put you on the spot. But
Yeah.
so I don't even know how to say this. Your perfect fire department, and like you're creating that promotional process. What would you require prior to being either eligible to promote? And then after that, what would your promotional process be? Because obviously you see what, and again, this is your opinion, you see what you don't like, but what would be the perfect world in Mike's fire department on even just to the point where, hey, now you're eligible? And then what would that process look like? Because I could have a guy that it takes him 20 years to get to a point where he wants to promote, he feels like he's ready, excuse me, to promote. And you could also have a 10-year guy that's been fucking crushing it and is ready 2 years ago. So,
Right.
like, what would you require? And then what would that process look like to promote to company officer?
I think requirement wise, I think a couple things, if this was my perfect role, would change. I think you have
Mhm.
to see the fireground through as many operational lenses that you're going to lead. So if you have a truck and you've never worked on the truck, I really encourage you to get on that truck. Spend some time as a tiller, spend some time as a truck driver. If you have a straight truck, tiller truck, sit behind a company officer in that front seat of a truck. I mean, it's just as simple as going to a structure fire and thinking about which way is the truck coming from, where are they going to need to spot will change your tactics and algorithm as that engine officer, right? Having that knowledge. I think branching outside the fire service more than ever. I think fire service books are great, but there is so much knowledge out there outside the fire service on customer service, on leadership, on intent, on mindset, where make it a part of the curriculum to be a company officer, right? Maybe true company officer academies, maybe increasing the time, right? Just maybe making temporary acting and acting a part of a prerequisite to sit in that seat. I learned the most, and it was the hardest job was being a temporary officer because one day you're like, your captain comes in the gym and is like, "Hey, we gotta do inspections today," and you're like, "Oh, we gotta do inspections today. Dude, we have been running all day," and then you get a call from the BC at 8 o'clock saying, "Hey, tomorrow the captain checked out. You're bumping up," and you got to be the one to walk in the gym next day and be like, "Guys, we gotta do some inspections today." That's a hard dichotomy to balance. And then the second part of your question was the testing process. I'm going to go a little left field here. I think we should get rid of the traditional test process that we do. Here's a simple thing that's probably crazy. When you interview for an entry level job as a firefighter, who do you interview with typically?
Uh, well, it depends because I know guys in departments that you interview with firefighters,
Right,
and then
exactly.
I know departments that you interview strictly with HR personnel.
Oh, that's I've never heard that. So I've heard like our department,
That's
you're
more East Coast is the HR side, I think.
yeah. So like when I think of it termed this way, when I interviewed, my first panel was a bunch of firefighters. We are interviewing these firefighters who are coming in to be like, okay, is this person going to be a good fit for this organization? Are they going to be a good fit with my rank? Is this someone I want to hang out with, work out with, run good calls with, genuine person? How come when we do promotional exams, LTs or captains don't get a chance to interview the person that's going to interview into their rank?
Mm.
I think of it that way, like, okay, you want to be a company officer, like, okay, are you going to be a good fit in our rank? What's your mission statement? What's your personal mission statement? What have you done to prepare? I have to work alongside you. I got to do trades with you. So I think that's a unique change. I also don't like the test book multiple choice, like perfect world. And you're going to laugh when I say this because you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. I'd love for it to be an operational test. I'm going to get you on a rig. I'm going to tone you out for something. I'm going to let you do your thing. Somewhere in that thing, you're going to get an HR nightmare, like somebody maybe gets into a fight, an argument, a citizen comes up and complains, or someone gets hurt. I threw out my back on that ladder. Let you go back to the station, let you rehab with the rig with the crew, and let you write your report, and then do your interview, and then do the other stuff. But get in the job, let them see how they operate because the paper's not going to do it. That's just a memorization game. That's a game. Let's test you for the infinite, not the finite.
And I wholeheartedly I agree with you 1,000% on the testing process. If it was more, if it first of all, if it's standardized across the country, that would be win number one,
Right.
and then win number two would be yeah, I want to physically watch you perform scenarios, not whiteboard tactics. Like you said, I want to put you in a house and I want to tone out a call, and it's going to be a working fire or whatever, and I'm going to light a burn building on fire and I'm going to let you go. And I want to hear radio communication because I want to interject stress, right? The same thing we do for kids in the academy.
Right.
We interject stress. We don't let them just take a written test in the interview and then they get to learn from the guys at work. And that's basically what we're doing. Promotional tests. It's like, hey, man, just study and then you're an officer. but we didn't do our due diligence to make sure that you're ready. And I
Right.
think popular, unpopular opinion, whatever it might be, it is the department's fault. That's my opinion on if they choose to run promotional processes like that. It just sucks. I mean, and I know a lot of guys' hands are tied, but there's got to be an answer to that. But I love your like the way you would do it because I kind of feel like that would be the happy medium. We've heard anybody that's been on the job longer than a freaking 3 minutes knows what I'm talking about. Someone's always going to bitch about either the test should be seniority rated, right,
Right.
or shouldn't be. One or the other. And
Right.
it's just like all these, they have to have X amount of years. It would be nice to just be like, hey, set a dead time. And then if you're a hard charger and you're doing all the right things, it's just going to happen. And obviously, the guys that like us that are students of the game and love this job so much, guess what? If that's something we aspire to do, we're going to be hitting vacates with the boys or just mind gem in it. Or, hey, man, like next tour, we're going to go to the academy if you have one and do dry runs and be like, hey, but we're going to involve everybody. Hey, my
Right.
nozzle men are going to get better. I'm going to get better as a company officer because I'm practicing. My engineer will give him a little tangle in there. He might have to hand jack a little farther than normal, but you can make it a great experience for the entire crew. And guys like that is the guys that you would want to lead the fire service. So I know you said before there's this generational gap right now. So I've heard negatives and positives. So I understand what you're saying. The negative side of it is the age and everything else. Do you see any positives for across the country? The officer rank has gotten a lot younger.
Oh yeah, I think there is just as many positives as there are negatives. I think the negative is a product of something that you can't control. Like I don't think the negative is something that the generational gap is the generational gap. You had a mass entrance of when the fire service boosted up in the 70s, you had a huge influx in. And but now we're kind of seeing, the exodus of that, which is why you're getting a lot of young officers coming in. I think that's a natural thing that has occurred. Um, but with that, we didn't plan on this generational gap. I mean, look at my department, the department surrounding me. Officers are promoting very, very young. I mean, I'm one of them. I mean, I'm 37 years old. Um, yes, I got to see. I was a truck driver, and I got to see the fire ground through multiple lenses. But I promoted way younger than I wanted to initially. But there was an opportunity, and I became hyper focused and hyper vigilant, and I thought I was ready, and here I am. But I think there's a lot of positives. I think young officers definitely I think we have young officers are very pliable. You just have to get in there and mentor them. I'm pliable. Somebody come in, I'm still being mentored as a young officer, right? Because you don't have as much experience as that 15, 20, 25-year truck guy. You physically have to roll up on scene and be like, what's your extrication plan? How can I support you? And you're almost automatically in that delegative, participative. You have the ability to create an environment where everybody gets to put their hands in and contribute. I do think there's some benefits with it. You just have to be aware of that environment. I think more than ever, just think about just the stuff we're doing on rigs right now with technology, and every generation has a strength and has a weakness. I don't think one's worse than the other. I just think we have to adapt to it. Would be my answer.
You said mentorship, which is crazy. I've actually heard that a lot lately from some of the old heads that are at the very tail end of their career and getting ready to leave that are either company officers or chief officers. And those guys are, and I don't know if they feel like maybe their generation kind of dropped the ball. And I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they said what they feel like that is missing right now in the American Fire Service is exactly what you said, mentorship. And it would be different and it could have just been the trend at the time. I hate to even use that word, but it is. There was a period of time where it was really cool to be a senior fireman. Guys held on to that back step or
Yep.
that engineer, chauffeur, pop operator, whatever you guys called in your system spot for a long time because they had officers that they really liked. And it was just like, I never wanted to promote because we all know promotion is the easiest way to get out of the best house ever. That's why you never those in the worst thing ever, when you finally sit down, you get the crew, and we all know what we're talking about. You get the crew, it never lasts long because the crew, the reason why they are is because they're hard chargers
Right.
typically. And
Right.
it's and shame on, and we all do the same thing. We try to help each other get better. And part of that is and again, my opinion, making the American Fire Service better by promoting. So, because there is, you could argue it left, right, whatever, till you're blue in the face. There is some reach of influence that requires rank, unfortunately.
Yep.
And I hate that. Can you lead from the back seat? 1,000%, my opinion. But at some point, without rank, you just don't have as much pull no matter what the message is. And I wish it wasn't like that. I wish a backstep fireman could change the entire department. But unfortunately, it takes at least the company officer level, from what I've seen, to start even opening the ears of the people that would make whatever that effective change is. What do you think about that, brother?
Oh, you're so right. So I got two examples for you. One is non-operational. So I've been our association president for, man, 6 or 7 years. And what you said about now, even though I'm the president and I was voted in, until I promoted and until I got time in as that spot, my influence with the senior guys and with the company officers was very, very small. I think you're 100% right. I think, yes, good ideas don't have seniority or rank, but this is the one professions that time matters more than ever. I think we operate on this time thing. We talk about time when we go to structure fires. We talk about time for primaries. Time is a big part of our vocabulary. And so we would be remiss to not think that time did not matter inside the firehouse as well. So I agree with you. And to go to your mentorship thing, I think a couple things have happened that I've seen and that I've been a part of from the union side and operation side. I think COVID messed everything up. I think
Yeah.
staffing wise, the fire service dipped, and it's a hard line to recover from that. People were getting mandoed left and right. People who are, especially medics, because medic schools closed. You have a good chunk of people who decided to promote earlier to be like, F this, I don't want to be mando anymore. I'm getting out of this rank. And that kind of started this ball rolling. And then I think short after that, we're still trickling, but going back to your mentorship part, right now in my organization, my surrounding areas, the average, I would say, company officer promoting is in that 10 to 12-year range. We've diminished it a little bit. It used to be like 15 to 20, and now it's 10 to 15. And so I don't mean to be long-winded, but I have a theory about this. At the same time that this is happening, we've decided to lower our standards or prerequisites for entry level, especially after COVID. We know we dropped firefighter ones, we dropped XYZ. We developed these new programs that really had the ability to bring someone in off the street or a career change and teach them about the fire service who have never been inside the firehouse. So we're bringing these people in who need more time than ever, and we're promoting younger than ever. So that 10 to 12-year firefighter that should be now mentoring, God bless them, is now hyper focused on their own success and their own career path, that this is getting missed back here. And somehow we have to reconnect that, because I see it and it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing. Like, I get it. You're now in your acting time. You're working on your temporary seat. You've been here for 8 years. You're working on your tactical sims and your arrival reports and your size ups. But then you got that firefighter that's driving that doesn't know where they're going, but you're so hyper focused, we're missing the mentorship on the back end. We have to somehow stop this cycle. And I don't know the answer yet.
Oh, I was just gonna say.
I don't
So,
know.
how do we do it?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
literally. All right. Well, I guess we would be millionaires if we did, because we'd fix the whole problem. That would
Right.
just transition across probably so many different levels, even outside the fire service.
Right.
So, yeah, holy cow. All right. Well, listen, brother, before we start talking about cool fireman stuff, because I
Yep.
want to talk about your region, you're a West Coast fireman like I am. What haven't we talked about? I know we just briefly kind of covered, but I want guys to check you out because
Yep.
you have so much content on Instagram that is just free to access. It's
Yep.
there. And it's just like, if you're not following this dude, You should be because you can learn something from everybody. He's got a wealth of knowledge. Is there anything else you want the audience to know about what you're doing, but more importantly, how they find you?
Yeah. So we are on Instagram, Front Seat Academy underscore official. Like you said, we put out content every day. We rotate between leadership, role play, tactical sims, essay writing, interview prep. The goal is to give you as much information as possible without you having to pay for it. Because if you don't have the ability to do it, we still want to give you that information. I'm not just going to drop a quote and be like, purchase this program. You could literally look at all that stuff and be content and build it on your own. But you go to the website, you can go to frontseatacademy.com. We also have a TikTok, which I'm still learning how to navigate that as much as Instagram. But there's plenty of content there. And I just want to iterate what the program is. It's an online program. You could spend 6 months on it. I give you 2 years access. Go through it multiple times. We're now doing monthly workshops for anybody who's enrolled for free. We're doing Zooms. The next one's on January 19th, and it's just a role play. 30 or 40 guys and gals on a Zoom doing role play scenarios, working their problems out, seeing what works for them, what's not, a little bit of lecture, but really an interactive workshop. The next month after that's tactical sims, because we just want to provide content. Like, we can't complain about the company officers promoting and refuse to give them the information to do well. And that's really the mantra. So we're doing that. But what sets us apart and what I'm so excited about, and it's been amazing for everybody, is I'm not joking. You send me your SOPs, SOGs, your truck manual, your engine manual, your MOU, your bargaining agreement. Send it all in a file. Google Drive, Dropbox, email. I will have a personal phone call with you. Tell me about your test. Tell me where your strengths and weaknesses are. We will build you questions for you to practice. Interview questions about your department. Role plays. We have a guy who's helping me out. We literally look up your first due district, your engine companies. We'll go to Google Maps. We'll pick a one-story commercial and we'll build your tactical sim on that address so you can physically pull it up and look at it while you answer your questions. Again, we don't do any one-on-one mentoring. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. But we will provide you the opportunities to do well on it. And we call it the front seat 40 because we say 10 interview questions, 10 role plays, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, I just did a 200 question multiple choice on someone's MOU for them because they're really struggling with that section. And it's
Man, and that is
all included.
sorry. That's amazing. Like
Yeah.
the that is probably I know when I went through my promotional process, it was like, I don't know, 1,400 fucking pages that you basically had to memorize. And it
Yeah.
was like, there's no way to pick out stuff. I do so lost. It's just reading and reading and reading and memorize and memorize and memorize for the academic section of it. And it's like, it is amazing that you're doing that for the boys because that way it eliminates one more step, one less little click of fucking stress because these processes are stressful, you
Right.
know, and just helping the guys out. But I love the fact that you're grabbing a building in their due.
Yep.
So it's not like, because I hate all the sims. I remember going through so many fucking sims, and it was just like, this is pointless because this is not the building construction in my
Right.
region. So yeah, I give you an on-scene report all day long on that, but I'm not going to get that. You know, I am literally wasting my time, but that's the only picture they have for me in that sim build. And it's a house from freaking wherever, Massachusetts, and I'm in
Right.
freaking the Phoenix region. It doesn't work. Building construction is just not the same. So,
No.
dude, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and it's been fun actually because I've learned when I first launched my program, it was 100 lessons. In 3 months, it's at 145 lessons because I'm
Wow.
working with all these departments and learning, hey, things that they do and, great things and things aren't been I'm building it. And what's even more fun is we have a couple departments where they're like 10 or 12 guys are coming in together on this. They're all buying the
Mm,
program. I just built a 53-page practice exam for 10 guys in a department. Interview, role play, and it's all their department. And the feedback is it's so nice because I feel like I'm studying out of my like front seat window, not like some random, you know, chat GBT question that's a define leadership and how you related to your company, so it's been really awesome.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your time, but thank you for doing what you're doing right now for the boys
Yeah.
because it is important. We're getting younger and younger across the country. So we're going to have young officers for a long time. So thank God there's guys like you out there that care about this and have a good system. So at least the guys have a point to go to get up to speed. You're helping them out, right? You're getting them prepared, and then they'll have to deal with their process and get the experience under their belt. But dude,
Yeah.
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So kind
Excited.
of wrapping up from there. They know where to find you now on social. Guys, listen, they love this question because yes, we all do the same job, but it is always so dramatically different. So again, as East Coast fireman, I'm a West Coast fireman. We're not in the same state, but we're both on the same coast. So, with all that said, you're bread and butter fire. So, either your room and contents, your floor off, whatever it is in your region, the one that never gives you goosebumps, you run the most often. What is it? And then how do you guys run it? How many engines? How many ladders? How many BCs? Are you IC driven, SOP driven? If you don't mind just marching out a
Yeah.
first due assignment for the audience, brother.
Yeah, so it's broken up into two. If we get a single RP, smoke showing, unknown location, you get 4 engines, a battalion, and a truck. We run our trucks 4.0. We're a tiller truck. So they do typically a split operation, 2 up, 2 in. If we have a confirmed working fire, we get 5 engines, one being a dedicated RIC, 1 truck, and 2 battalion chiefs. We are currently in the process of working with the TOs to have 2 trucks being assigned to every structure fire. Everything for us is going vertical. We were a very, single family dwelling, but we've definitely moved into the mid to high rise spot just because of cost and space. But yeah, we get 5 engines, one being a RIC, a dedicated truck, and 2 battalions.
I love the fact that your truck's split two in, two up, right? It's
Yeah.
just that is the way that everyone should do it. My region does it, and I hope one day before I retire they do. But that'll be another fight. Quick question on that confirmed working fire. So, Grandma Smirkins calls, my house is on fire, right? And they hear it, they're sending the whole assignment. Is that, I'm just curious why they put 2 battalions on it. Does one go interior? Or is that like, do they sector out? Like, why? Jeez.
I think the thought process behind it is one becomes safety or one takes,
Mm,
a division. We are an ICS driven area, but I mean, if it's a multifamily or a mid to high rise, you will typically get that second battalion chief somewhere on that landing, running that division or running that floor, but they'll typically put that position in safety.
I got you. And then your region. So I don't know how close all the apparatus is. So the area that I work, if you hiccup going down the road, someone's going to beat you in, which is I
We're
love
snug.
it.
We're snug.
Okay. Oh, good, good, good. So I love snug because it makes guys be quicker, be better, be more aggressive. With all that, so since you guys are snug like we are, um, that first in engine, do they typically lay in, or is that something that the second in will catch them up so they're going right in?
This is this is the hot topic.
Okay. I asked because it's a hot topic in a lot of places right now, so I was curious.
My personal engine company, we will not lay a line unless I'm going to a commercial fire at 2 in the morning and I can see flames through the roof, as I pull down the street. We are not stopping to grab that hydrant. There was a huge push that if you saw smoke showing, that you would lay in. Let's just leave it at that. But our second dude grabs our water.
Nice. I love that. I came from that type of system, and then we're um, very similar to that right now, getting even more aggressive with not laying in because on top of each other. But there's systems out there that require 2 supply lines on every working fire, residential, which is like mind-boggling to me because I
Insane.
remember hearing that. Like, I'm like, is this a wet? Granted, no experience with fire on the West Coast prior to moving out here. But I'm like, man, is that like a West Coast thing? I'm like, that's
Right.
the silliest thing I've ever heard of.
I will tell you, I have never been more solidified in that thought process. In the course of the last, I think, 3 months, I think we've had 3 or 4 working fires with victims we've pulled.
Beautiful.
I mean, I can't justify it. I got
Yeah.
500 gallons. I mean, if you're if you're into the job and you've seen the NIST studies and the UL studies, and you're looking up Justin McWilliams and search culture and you're in it, you just can't justify it. I got a 500-gallon tanker coming with me, next due, and I have a hydrant 200 feet away. We'll get the water. It's coming. Let's just get there first.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I love you said it's time. Like time is not on our side. It's never been, but now the generational fires that we have now with the fuel loads that we have now, we are behind the ball as soon as we're leaving the back. So it's
time.
just like time is fucking. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like fast water fucking wins, fast searches win. Like we don't fucking have time anymore. These are legacy. I don't, there's very few legacy construction. I mean, obviously East Coast, but even all those are being revamped and everything. Time is no longer on our side because of our fuel loads, is really what's killing us.
I mean, everything is, it's just, to me, it's everything's on time. We have people teaching classes on to roll up the roll up door before you get in the rig and get changed. So by the time you're in the rig, you can go. You don't have to wait for the roll up door to go. I mean, we're teaching time being a true factor in this. 30 seconds to stop at that hydrant to me is way too much time. Even if it's 30 seconds, it's way too much time.
Yeah. Now and completely off topic, but since we're discussing it, right?
Yeah.
There is departments that have clean cabs. Most of the departments around my area, all the packs are on the outside, which I hate
Right.
because I understand why they did it. Don't agree with it because I feel like I can decon that back at the station, put it back on, and I'm good. But there's departments that are complete clean cab. So if they're on the road, oh, all right, well, I didn't know that. So I hate the idea because you're telling me I have to roll up on scene to get out and now turn out. Holy fuck my face. That's horrible.
So we're just SCBA clean turnout.
Oh yeah, no, we have all the areas around here. The packs are on the outside,
You're
but
talking
there's
about turnout.
departments, turnouts, everything.
Oh man.
So the bodies are inside, and I'm like, and they did it for the right reasons. The
Right.
correct reasons were for the reduced exposures, our health, the guys, right? Like, yes, all the way across, but we can bag, put them in rear compartments, decon at the house, clean everything, put it back in the vehicle. Because again, like you said, there's a time is against us, So you're telling me that I can't have my turnouts in the cab with me, right? So that means if we are going down the road that I can't put my pants on because you and I both grew up in a generation where seatbelts were, I wouldn't say they were new, but it was new to be like, hey man, wear your fucking belt. Like where before it was like, oh, I don't give a fuck. Now I hope across the country, most guys are keeping belted in. We know how to turn out with our freaking belt on. But I
Right.
can't do it if the gear's not in my freaking truck with me. Like that makes no sense.
I will tell you, we went to clean cabs for turnouts. I mean, for SCBAs, and now there's a push to just put the rider SCBA or the back step SCBA back in the rig, so they can jump off it and get quicker. I agree. I love the mission behind it. I do. Why don't we just buy spare harnesses for our bottles and switch them out and then send those off to be deconned with our turnouts? Like I get it, but the mission is still them over us. It has to be. And I hope that those departments that are worried about clean cabs are doing a new alert system. They're putting saunas in their stations. I hope they're doing all these extra things that are really killing these firefighters. I'm not saying that the other side isn't, but it can't just be like we have to pick this. This is we got to be clean cabs, no turnouts. I mean, what about the other stuff that's hurting us as well? Can you imagine pulling up to working fire with a rescue and having to change in
No.
front of Mr.
In front
Smith?
of freaking, yeah, exactly. Right. And they're looking at you like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, these are the
Right.
professionals. Again, personal opinion. I believe it looks very unprofessional.
Yeah.
And of course, it takes more time, which is no one can argue the fact that time is not on our side. So shame on us for thinking that that's the answer. We should look into other options, especially with the studies now. We have enough data to prove that that's a bad idea. Let's figure out a different route to accomplish the same goal of reducing exposures for
I mean,
sure.
what's the number now? 6 minutes is what you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Dispatch
4 to 6
time.
minutes, usually for a viable victim, too. So
Yeah.
it's like, you got no time.
Yeah. None. I agree.
All
That's
right,
wild. I
brother.
never
Well,
knew that. I never knew turnouts too. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and it's a fairly new thing, but I've been hearing more and more departments as they're getting trucks. So not all of them, thank God, but I've been hearing a handful, but like, yeah, they're talking about going clean cap. I'm like, oh my God, no. Like I hope they don't. Like for these guys telling me the story, I'm like, and again, but it's
Our
for
la-
the right reason. Again,
our
like we're all trying to reduce the risk, but that's not the answer.
we reverted and now we're trying to bring it back. When we redesigned our newest engines, our ladders are on top, and when you want to bring them down, it's a slow mechanism that's like, right?
Yep.
And then they block the cabs. And
Yep.
so now we're like, the time it takes to bring the ladder and throw it to a window and VIS, I mean, it's an extra 30, 40 seconds potentially. Now we're talking about putting the ladders back in with a pull out side off the rear. So this pendulum swung, and I think everybody's starting to realize, okay, let's bring it back somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, ladders need to be in tunnels, period. The end. I'm a ladder
Yeah.
guy. Even on the engines, they need to be in the fucking tunnels for multiple reasons. But I won't go. That's a long rabbit hole. We'll go down on that one. All right, brother. Well, they know where to find you. You're doing fucking amazing things. Thank you again. So let's get into the questions because we never
Yeah.
found out the why, which is the
Yeah.
most important thing. So why? Why didn't Mike say, "Hey, man, I want to be a fireman"? Were you like my boy Kevin Weiss comes out of the womb with the fucking Halligan? Or is it something that you found later on in life? What is your why?
Later on in life, I knew nothing about the fire service. My wife hates when I tell this story, and you'll know why after. But I grew up. I have two older brothers. One's more on the business side. The other's he's a colonel in the military. He's a fighter pilot. So he was a big influence on me in service. But I was actually pre med when I went to college. I was like, I want to go pre med. I had a really desire to do medicine. And I remember I'm a freshman. I knew nothing about the fire service. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Freshman year, I meet a girl in anatomy phys. And one day we're walking, I think, to class from somewhere, and there's a AMR transport like booth, for some job fair. And she's like, "We should be EMTs. Like, it'd be great. It'd be great experience." And I'm not thinking. I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds like a great
Sure.
idea. Yeah, let's do it." I can't even tell you what her name is now. Never know. She was like a soulmate that just came into my life for like a week that diverted my path. And well, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to EMT school. I'd still want to be pre-med. It'd be a great way to get experience. I went to EMT school. I got blessed that I worked on a 911 bus immediately in a busy system. And I fell in love with it instantly. I was like, I want to go to medic school, blah, blah, blah. And one day I'm working with a guy, and his dad was a San Jose fireman. I worked in the Bay Area, and he took me to a fire station. And then I was like, okay. And there was like a volunteer there, and they're like, you should be a volunteer. They let me, throw on the SCBA. They had some training going on. That was it. Like I was like, there was no doubt in my mind that this is what I was going to do the rest of my life. And
Sold.
sold. I knew nothing about it. I wasn't a big guy on leadership, wasn't a big guy on service in general. Like it wasn't a part of my blood, my family's blood, right? My parents want to be lawyers, doctors, and that was it. And since then, I can't imagine myself doing another job. And people joke, like we always joke at the dinner table, how much money if you win the lotto are you going to do this job? I'm like, honestly, if I win the lotto, I'm coming back to work on Tuesday. Like, there's not changing for me. And people who know me, like, that is the truth. If my
Yep.
wife thinks it's crazy, I hate coming home, not because I don't wanna see my wife and kids, but I'm worried what I'm gonna miss out on when I come home, and I'm giddy the night before getting ready to go to work. It's just I don't know. It's just it. It's it for me.
Yeah. I say that shit all the time. I'm like, listen, nobody would know, but I would not work any overtime anymore. I would do my shifts with my crew, and I would try to align myself in like the best house with the best guys, and I would just work,
Yeah,
and just have a great time doing it. Just
yeah,
and never have to worry about picking up a shift overtime because got bills or Christmas came up or something, trying to save up for a family vacation. And I would probably take some vacations. That's it. I
yeah,
would still do this fucking job 100%.
yeah. I'm giddy every day. I'm so giddy about it. I don't know. It's so good.
Because it's the best fucking job in the world. I was just talking to guys today about It is, we say it's a job or whatever, but it's not even a job. It's the only job that exists for guys like us. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself doing anything else. And again, I
Yeah.
found this by accident later on in life too, like coming out of
Yeah.
the military, and it was the best accidental decision I basically ever made in my entire life. But so now we know the why, my brother.
Yeah.
So favorite question. And we kind of touched on something, right? So I'm curious on where you're going to go with this. But hey, I just promoted you. You're the commissioner of the fucking universe, right? Fire department of the world. You get to change, affect something in the American fire service. So it could be anything.
Mm.
Really, what we want to know is whatever it is, why? Why do you want to insert, delete, remove, whatever it is? What would you want to interject, but why? I know
That's
it's
a
a tough
tough
one.
one off the spot. Anything I could interject and why?
And it's instant gratification. It happens right now. No sweat equity.
No sweat equity. And it's my imaginary world.
Yeah, whatever you want.
I guarantee you no one's gonna ever answer this like this, and this is my union hat on. If I'd get rid of a budget.
All right.
I'd get rid of a
I mean,
budget.
tell me what that means.
Listen, I am a firm believer that what we do is not for me, it's not for you, it's for them. And so much of what we do is constrained by finite numbers. Just like any other, we're part of a city, part of a district. We are ink on paper. We are numbers on a spreadsheet. It is physically impossible to correlate those numbers to a missed primary search. Or it's impossible to say, staffing is this, your equipment is this many years old, you spent that much money on overtime, and equate that to a missed primary search. I get it though. I understand how government works. I understand how the economy works. I understand the difficulties and stressful times. But every time we go on a run or we go on a working fire, we go on a simple medical aid, those people, and I believe this wholeheartedly, they depend on us. When they dial, they don't think about a budget. They don't think about, are they staffed today? They don't think about, did these guys get their training in? They just dial and wait. And it is upon us to get there and get there quick and do the job. And I understand the difficulties sometimes with departments. I talk to departments all across the country, right? Staffing, training, difficulties here, difficulties there. But Citizen X doesn't care, nor should they. We're almost like an insurance policy, right? People pay insurance, and at the end of about like 10 or 15 years, you don't really realize what you're paying until something, God forbid, happens and you need it and you pull out that card. I couldn't tell you right now what my deductible is, right? But I depend on it when I pull out that card that me and my family are going to be taken care of. That is the trust we have with the community. So if I could have my unlimited wish, I'd get rid of budget. I
I
don't
love it.
staff the rig 5.0 on the truck. Give me 4.0 on an engine. Give me 3 trucks on a response. Make everybody have unlimited training budgets to go across all the conferences across the world. Learn the craft, enjoy the craft. That would be my dream.
Yeah. Could you imagine be like, they can't say no because no, hey bro, sorry, you can't go to that conference, dude. Our staffing is just it's too tight right now. You know?
That
Imagine
happens.
them just yeah, I know exactly it happens. Like, guys, sorry, man. Like, maybe next year. It's like, it might not be here next year. Like,
Right.
it is so frustrating when it comes down to the financial obligation that is involved with this job. And I say all the time, we're a service. We are expensive. Yes, I
Right.
understand that. But I despise when counties, cities, districts, whatever, try to balance a budget on the boys' back, which really drives me crazy because I would say fire department, police department, I'll put our brothers in blue in there too because I do believe this. We are a service. If you want people to come into your area, whatever it is, to spend money and to live, they want to go to places with good services, a great police department, great fire department, right?
Right.
They don't want to go to the low income or the smaller areas or the rural where they might not get a fire truck because it's like that doesn't make any sense to me. But these places will try to do that to us because they're like, oh, let's start billing for EMS and now go to a general fund. I mean, you could do anything. The guys
Right,
listening to this know what I'm talking about
right,
because they've experienced some sort of it somewhere. But that
yeah,
drives me crazy because I'm like, we're a service. We are not designed to break even or make money ever.
right.
Again, personal opinion.
No, I agree with you, and I'm sympathetic. Like I couldn't imagine, balancing a budget for a whole city or a state response, but at some point though, like it's so hard. It's so hard. Like for me as a company officer, I literally sometimes like my stomach turns at night when I think about the calls I have to run or the experience of my crew, or I wish we could have done this more, I wish I could have done that more. I mean, we are literally dealing with a job that could potentially kills people in a second, right? We just can't compare it to any other job. You can't. If the store is closed today, you just go to the store tomorrow. This is not that job. If the fire department is not prepared to respond, right? It's life or death. And for me, I always try to remember that them over us, always them over us. And I know that's a hot topic because we talk a lot big on mental health right now, and we talk a lot about taking care of our own. But for me, my mental health is knowing that like I earned my way to go. I earned my right to go home this morning, and I put it in yesterday. And I wish we just had unlimited budget to do that. I wish we could all training go to all
I'll
these
take it. You know,
conferences, please.
no one has said that yet. I'll take it. I love it. And it seems
Yeah.
like the biggest softball toss ever.
It
After you said it, I'm like, I can't believe no one said that already. But yeah, no, but not unlimited budget, no budget.
no
Just
budget.
whatever you guys need. Yeah, we'll get it for you.
Yeah.
Done. That'll make you better at your job. Done. That's how many guys you need. Done. Right. When your equipment breaks, cool. We'll fix it or replace it. Imagine. Yeah. And training, God, I'm in that position right now. And it would be amazing to just be like, not have to worry about how much wood we're going to go through or anything on those lines. It's like, hey, you need to burn. These guys need to burn. These guys need to cut. These guys need to do pins, go.
Right.
Just we'll give you everything you need.
Build a
Just
cadre
tell us
for
when
you.
you run out.
Build up your cadre, your training cadre.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, not worry about backfills and everything else. That would be the perfect world for sure.
And I think we need to do a better job of listening to the experts, right? Like you are heavily involved in training. If you go to your chief and say, "Hey, I need XYZ in order to accomplish ABC," right? You don't need XYZ because it's a personal benefit to you. It's a benefit to the end user. That's the same with us. When we say we need four on an engine, it's not because I really enjoy having a fourth guy. It's because I know the benefits of having a fourth guy to release a company officer to get off that line, right? Which will let me do the job better. So no
Yeah.
budget, no budget, no budget.
All right. Well, win. I love it. I love it. All right, my brother. Well, listen, we've been yapping for over an hour, right?
Appreciate it.
And so I want to keep you. I appreciate your time. So, but before we sign off, is there anything you want to leave the audience with, either about your business, leadership, or anything like that before we sign off?
No, just appreciate the opportunity. It's been a blast. Even if you're not interested in the course, DM me, email me at frontseatacademy@gmail.com. Actually, my cell phone number is on social media. Just text me. The best part of this is the relationships that I've built with everybody across really the world. And we've hit a couple countries now. And I had a guy in Australia reach out. And it's been a blast. I am excited for tomorrow. Literally, I'm excited for the next day. And I appreciate the opportunity. And please reach out. I'd love to help you.
I love it. All right. Well, Front City Academy, Instagram especially, check him out. Every day he's dropping something on a story or a post about anything. Scene size up something, right? It's a good little like always call them know while you go, right? A little thing while you're fucking pissing or shit in the morning, right? You're like, hey, I got my couple minutes in, I'm good to go. I learned something. Again, if you're not trying to learn something every day, you know, you're probably time to hang it up and walk out the door. So
Right.
this is the easy way to get a little bit in, maybe even ignite that passion back a little bit. So check him out for sure. He's one of the boys, right? He's doing it for us. He's doing it for the officers he's doing it, I should say, he's doing it for the future officers, really. But he's doing it for everybody because we can all look at the stuff and get better at our craft. So thank you, my brother.
Thank
Mike, you're the
you.
man. I appreciate your time. Round two, right? And
Round
again,
two.
we will catch you guys. Yeah, round two. And we'll catch you guys in another 2 weeks.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.